Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as President Christensen said, I am Andrew Moniz, and thank you for having me here today. I really didn't prepare too much, but I figured the Spirit would guide me through this talk. I recently got baptized on October 31st, and it was a long process, a long time coming. And the reason for that is I am on parole. I had spent 7 years in prison in Texas for a crime I didn't commit. I was trying to help a friend out, and he ended up kind of turning his back on me, and I ended up suffering the consequences of that. But I didn't let that get me down. I kept a good head about it the whole time, but it was a rough 7 years. And I did a lot of soul searching throughout that time, a lot of reading, and just trying to find my place with it all. But with the way that I grew up and everything, I kept everything to myself. I tried to shoulder all of my own burdens, all of my own problems. I didn't want to put that on anybody else. And whenever I was going through things, I tended to shut everybody out, and including God. I didn't let anybody in, and I just tried to handle everything on my own. And coming out, I think that made things a lot rougher because it was a lot more difficult than I let on, readjusting back into being home. But I try to do it and just try to swallow everything myself. And within maybe 3 months of being out, I just knew that I was missing something. And I started going to church, and just immediately the atmosphere drew me in. Just the family environment, how tight-knit everybody was, how quick everybody was to help, how concerned they were of everybody else's well-being, and if anybody needed help or anything. And it just it drew me in and made me want to learn more and want to keep coming. And I had started taking lessons with the missionaries, and not as often at first, but I was coming to church just about every week. And I ended up going through a rough time again, kind of a little I guess heartbreak, and what I thought was going to pull me away actually brought me closer. And I started getting a lot more serious into everything and taking the lessons a lot more often. And what I really enjoyed about it was the missionaries helped me see what I was going through, what I had been through, in such a different perspective than I had seen myself, and letting me know that the people that had come in and out of my life, or the things that I had endured over the years, were just Christ's way of preparing me for the journey that I had to be on, and the journey that I was going on, trying to become a member. And that really sank with me a lot. And it made me just that much more eager to continue going on. And we began the process of applying for baptism, and that took quite a long time. And but we finally got there, and since becoming a member, it's just everything has just been so much better. And over the years, with having to shoulder everything on my own and everything that I had gone through, I think the biggest thing that I learned is that we don't have to go through it alone. We don't have to not have somebody there or feel that nobody's there, because he is. And a big thing coming out too, was relatability, because of everything that I had gone through being in prison. Coming out, it's hard to relate to anybody that hasn't been in that position or that hasn't gone through a lot of the things, because they might not know where you come from emotionally, or where your mind might be at with how you relate to different things. But Christ always knows. He's the one that knows you personally, that knows you in and out. And finally having that realization has really helped things get that much easier. And it's still difficult from time to time, learning to lean on somebody when, for the years of not doing that before. But it's gotten so much better. And as I've been living out the covenants that I've made and trying to keep to his doctrine and his commandments, I've just seen the blessings that have come in my life, from day-to-day life, with just business, just my overall emotional state. I'm that much more eager to go about each day knowing that I have him to lean on. And but it was really that perspective that just helped me see things, because no matter who it is, no matter what you're going through, there is not one problem that is less significant than somebody else's, or somebody's struggle that's less significant than somebody else's. Every one of us has reached that point in our life that we feel that we're at our lowest, or that we can't move on. And so no matter what it is, but Christ is always there. And the scriptures have been just such a big rock for me going through all of that, and it was when I used to get depressed or get down, I would tend to dig myself a deeper hole and just think about more negative things until I really just couldn't get out. But now I've learned, as soon as I start feeling that way, I immediately turn to him, or I turn to that positivity, even if it's just driving from my house and going to sit in front of the church, just to be in his presence and just to feel that. It's really just helped me that much more. And it changes your whole way of thinking, your whole way of living, your whole way of being, just knowing that he is there for you. And it's made everything just so much greater. And I am so happy that the missionaries found me, and I started taking lessons and started learning more. My mother's been a member for over 20 years, and she had tried for years to open my eyes to the truth that is the Book of Mormon, but I was just never receptive enough, or too stubborn to really try to listen, just content with going about life my own way. But I'm blessed that my eyes finally have been opened, because I can testify that this is God's church, and that Joseph Smith did restore his church. And it's been just such a blessing to know that, and to feel that, and to just go about life from there. It's been so much easier on everything, just knowing that alone. And I'm just so grateful to continue being here. But wow, I spoke really fast. But it's what.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Anything else you wanted to say? I don't want to cut you off there.
No, you're not cutting me off. I think I was really trying to think, but I think I talked a little too fast and wrapped everything up. But that is all, I believe.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Again, I had the opportunity of speaking with Andrew over a period of a little bit while he was making final preparations to be baptized. And the thing that I've learned, and I learned it a long time ago, but I've learned it in spades out here, is that that we as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can learn so much as we look at the world and us through the eyes of someone looking into the church and someone embracing the restored gospel, someone coming in as a new convert. And I was able to look at us a little, I think, more clearly, perhaps than through Andrew's eyes. So again, so grateful for sharing your thoughts tonight, Andrew. Our next speaker is going to be Brother Brent Gardner. And Brother Garner, I also just had the opportunity to visit and meet on Zoom, which is how we seem to meet probably too often these days rather than in person. But I was similarly impressed with Brent, his story, his life story, and ultimately what led him to where he was when the missionaries contacted him. So Brent, we'll turn the time over to you.
Okay. Good evening. It's an interesting journey. A lot of things happened to me when I was very young that should never happen to any young boy or girl. And I grew up a very messed up kid. And we were kind of in church, out of church at the Southern Baptist. We'd go to church on Christmas and Easter and just holding a form out in the public like we're a healthy family. But we were very dysfunctional. As I grew older, that no longer worked. I sought out, went to the Catholic Church. That didn't work out. In my teenage years, I started turning to drugs and alcohol and some things of that nature, and just choosing a lifestyle that no young man or young lady should choose, and went into a whole permissive lifestyle. And later in my early 20s, early 30s, went to Kansas for a healing ministry, got involved in a non-denominational church there, but I had a little relapse, and they just pretty much kicked me out and ran me out of Kansas. I was in Kansas for about 4 years, and I went to Minneapolis, Minnesota, Eden Prairie, and again tried the Catholic Church. That didn't work out. So I was along this, there's a whole lot of years here I'm kind of condensing into just a few moments. I went out to a Russian Orthodox monastery in Northern California and stayed there for quite a while. And that was the first time in my life where there was no drugs, booze, or any kind of permissive sexual activity. And that was the greatest thing I thought, but that didn't work out. Mom needed me back here. So I came back to Oklahoma, been here going on probably 17 years now. I can remember everything. Just helping her out and with my aunt and just struggling and literally having no friends outside of my mom and her 2 or 3 sisters. But they keep, as life happens, they pass away. Mom was the first, one of the earliest persons to pass away in Oklahoma from COVID. And that year just was another year of loneliness, another year of going back to old, just to self-medicate. You don't want to feel anything. You don't want to just be in that pain. And I moved over to Ada, and I skipped a significant event because of about 7 years ago. I was out carousing around and contracted a STD, which ruined any possibilities for me to ever have a family. And just the pain of that and those issues. And I can't stay at at Mom's house anymore, so I have to leave. And I come to Ada. A year of absolutely loneliness, but at that same time, I was praying this entire time. God showed me the truth, and all these years, not these guys' truths, not these people over here, not this. I've gone through the gambit. Lord, tell me the truth. Lord, send me someone that will talk to me and just be friendly with me and just be friends with me. Well, my apartment building was undergoing renovations. I was a year there, moved across town into a little neighborhood, a little nice cottage apartment. And one afternoon, I believe it was on a Friday, I was getting groceries. And I saw the missionaries canvassing, coming up in the neighborhood. And I thought, Lord, if it's your will, please, please, I'm begging you, Lord, let them say something to me. So they were still down the street a little bit, not too far, but I started carrying one bag at a time into the house, just hoping they would get closer, just hoping. And so they did. I sat my last, and this entire time I was begging the Lord, let them talk to me, and they did. And they shared with me some things, and I got so excited to hear that my Heavenly Father loved me. And I'm getting emotional now. But He answered my prayer, that something I've been praying for a year and a half, that someone would show me the truth, someone would tell me the truth. They gave me a book of Mormon. I started reading. They gave me some scriptures to look up, and I did. And they just spoke to me. I knew immediately after reading that first verse that this is true. And so I started reading every day, and just God is good, and He heard my cry that day. And reading in the Book of Mormon, and it testifies, it points to Jesus. It is the truth, and it's undeniable to me. But I'm so grateful that God answered prayer and sent these my brothers to me to tell me that news. And I was baptized yesterday, and let me tell you, I felt like I was clean for the first time in a long time. And today I felt like I got a hug as they were laying on their hands. I could feel it here, and they were all putting their hands on my head, but I felt a hug, and kind of be like wrapped in a little blanket. And that's how I felt. And I thought, my Father loves me. And for a year and a half praying, the Lord sent me to send some gentle people, and not the ones who will try to browbeat me or use behavior modification, psychological warfare. It's just torture, and behavior modification doesn't really work. That desire, that heart transformation comes through the atoning work of Jesus Christ, and that is true. And that's my testimony. The word is true, and the church is true, because the Lord answered my prayers. So I'll start really crying if I don't stop right now. But this has been one of the most wonderful things that I have ever experienced in my life. So I'm going to cut it off and leave it there.
Thank you so much, Brent. And to you and Andrew, welcome to the family.